Hello everybody, Festy here from the Makers, and it's got a bit chilly, so jump on, wrapped up with my Zesty Garland. However, in the process, I've been decapitating lemons from, from it. They are sewn on, but only just. So welcome to part 3 of our Festy Zesty Garland, that way round. And I hope that you have been busy making lemons and oranges because that's what's on here. And of course, what you haven't got yet are the leaves. It's all about today. However, you also need to put some finishing touches on the lemons because they are, of course, they're missing their little brown navel here. And they need a little bit of green on there so that they look like they're super fresh at on the verge of ever so slightly underripe. Oh, can you just imagine the lemons there are? So I need to put this somewhere. Um, Lovely. And today, when you open your week 3, all you get is a load of green wool, which I have already taken out some of it, and we need to make some leaves. So, but before we go straight into this, I'm just going to have a quick look who is here today. It's quite a busy evening for me because I've literally just finished doing day 16 of the advent calendar, where we've had a bit of fun with a reverse felting needle, if that's call it fun with a reverse needle. Emily says hi, Steffi and all. Anne says, oops, sorry, a minute or two late as charging my glass. Oh, goodness me. So, welcome to those who have rejoined or joined for the first time. If you have got the Advent project, then obviously do share with us how you're getting on and let us know how you're finding it so far. If you haven't got it, you can still get it. This is the good thing about this Advent project this year, is that we haven't actually put a limit to it. It's going to be one of those that will work all year round, and it's not just a table decoration for festive season, but it can be something that you have up all year round. It can be turned into a wreath. It can be a mantle piece, and or it could just be therapy, which I think. So I'm just gonna have to grab a lemon from my box here. One that I made earlier, one orange that I made earlier. There we go. So that I can show you how you're going to now add some of that of the what do you call it, of the green as a ever such a slight dusting on it to give it that very fresh look. Right, so here we go. There are the two that I need to work on. The orange will get some green added too, because it's at the moment it's just a ball, but we need to give it one green navel. And this is what the lemon will look like when it's done. So let's get a little bit of that lush yellow here as well. And we do need a felting mat, which is here. And we need a little bit of the green, which is here. And just to remind you, if you've forgotten how to mix colors, you overlay them, then you tease them apart, going always in the same direction. I always pull it side by side, from side to side, overlaying it in the same direction. If you crisscross it, you're gonna end up with little bobbles. It's not the most ideal way to mix wool. We want to imagine you're straightening out the fibers. So you just need tiny amounts. This will do quite a few lemons. So just get that done. And then all you're going to do is, and you find how to do this back in the first set of instructions. There we are. I've just mixed a little bit of the wool, and then you find this in step 17 and 18, and going forward with a brown, which you haven't got yet if you're doing the Advent project. So this will come, no surprise, another time. So for now, you're just gonna lay very small wispy bits out on your lemon to give it that ever so slightly green, very, very fresh look. And then I'm using a fine felting needle here because you don't want to have any stab marks. However, if you have one of these, that also works really well. This is obviously the 5 needle felting tool, the Clover 5 needle felting tool. So we just want to add this to it so that you can barely see it, just like on a real lemon. You don't want it to be too green. We're not turning them into lines. We want it to be barely visible. So this is what you have to do on all of the lemons that you have made so far, just to give them a little bit of a green color. And obviously don't do it too much, just a little bit, and then they look a lot more realistic. So doesn't have to be so far down here, it can be further up, but that's basically what you're doing there. And ignore this bit at the moment, that will come next time. Now with the oranges, we also need some green, but for that you're going back to your oranges instructions. So this is on step 32, where you tease off a strand of the green, and then you're going to determine where it's going to go, and you're going to set this down in one spot. And you can use a fine needle, or you can use a medium needle, and you're basically just stuffing that wool consistently into one end of the orange. So it looks like you're putting a lot of green wool in there, and in fact you are. But whilst you're doing it, you're also making an indentation, which is what we want, sort of a slight dip in the orange here. So that's what you're doing with the green wool in the orange. So stay in that one spot and get it all felted down until you've got a green little patch there. And that's what you do with all of your oranges. So at the moment you've just got orange balls, but we are now slowly but surely turning them into more realistic looking oranges. There we go. And that's it. There you go. That's the orange done here. And then obviously when we have the brown, we put a brown navel in here. So that's finishing off the lemons and the oranges. And let's see what else we're doing. So now we're doing leaves. So for the leaves, yes, there have been people who've given ideas of using water-soluble paper. I've seen somebody comment on it, but I do want to show you a different technique, and I've already given people that idea the other day when we did our advent calendar, where we were making one of the decorations from some of the wool. And in your Festy Zesties instructions, you have got leaf templates. Now you have 3 different leaf templates, and if you're using parchment paper, you can actually trace a leaf template on there. So I'm just going to go with the largest leaf template here, just tracing the outline onto my parchment paper like this. So I'm making the largest one here, and I'm just going to cut a little bit of the paper off to work with a little bit less flapping around. And then I'm going to put my shape onto my felting mat, and now I'm going to use the green wool. And we're suggesting that you will need to be making at least 18 leaves. So before you start, take off the green wool wisps required for the lemon and oranges, which will be about 3 to 5 grams. Then split the remaining wool into 15 to 18 leaves. So maybe split all of your green wool into 15 to 18 portions, and then assess whether you make a smaller or a larger leaf. So I'm just going to take off what I think I need for that large leaf. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my felting needle, where is my medium felting needle gone? Have I put it away by accident in the wrong? Yes, I have. Okay, here we go. Is that right? Yes. So I'm using my medium felting needle, and all I'm going to do is I'm now felting the leaf onto, I'm actually felting through the greaseproof paper, so I can find the edge here. If you overshoot, just bend the wool inwards, fold it over and felt it down, and go all the way around and just get the wool roughly onto the water, not onto the water soluble paper. And incidentally, if you're doing this on water soluble paper, it's the same technique, except obviously that the water soluble paper becomes part of the leaf. So just need a little bit more of that green wool here, and all the way there. And we do want sort of an extension of the leaf, because we do need to fasten it onto the garland. So we do want that extra bit of extension here. So get it felted down, and then take the paper off your mat, and then take the leaf off your paper, always that way around. So you already have excuse me, a nice shape here. You can put it back on, you can turn it the other way around if you want, that way, stabbing it down from the other side. So still keeping it on that template to have a guide of where I'm going with this, and felt it down a little bit more to get it firmed up. You can also use your clover felting tool to speed things up, because making 18 leaves, you really don't want to spend a huge amount on this. You might be able to get away using your greaseproof paper for 2 leaves. I wouldn't hold my breath, but you might be able to. Now, you can, once you've got an established shape, you can start working on it straight on your felting mat. You don't need to keep using your greaseproof paper. And then it's just a question of firming that shape up and making it into, I keep adding wool because there was a weak patch, so you can still do this. Once you've lifted it off the mat, you can actually see where you've got bits missing, and keep lifting it off. Now, once it's got a shape, you should be able to just felt into it. It's only to start it off so that you don't end up with all the wool stuck in your felting mat. But once you've got a shape, you should be able to just use it directly on your felting mat. Of course, if you have got a brush mat and a 7 needle felting tool, the blue one, then you can use that too. I'm going to stick with my clover felting tool here for now. And most importantly, you know already what's coming. Most importantly, you want to use an edging tool. So I've got the largest size here, which I think works really well for the leaf. And I'm going to wedge that between my 2 shapes here. And then I'm going to go in, and just be aware this might shrink your leaf down quite a bit. So if you want to keep it really big, then just keep the leaf big before you felt it down inside your template, because what you're actually doing is you're bulking up the leaf now so that it becomes a lot thicker. And if you're not sure where you're going with this, remember you do have the template, so just lay it on there and you know exactly where you need to needle felt it down a little bit more. But be aware, it might actually become a size below that. However, it doesn't really matter what shape that leaf is, because at the end of the day, a leaf is a leaf, and as soon as you put it with the oranges and the lemons, nobody's gonna look at it very close up and say, this is actually not a great leaf shape. It's complete rubbish. So it's not gonna happen. And I just love how neat the edging tool will make that leaf, so that it's actually a really good way of doing this. If you do have an embellisher at home, you can use the wool and make the leaves with an embellisher. You can also just make sheets of felt and then cut the leaves out, as long as it's felted down really, really well. There are all kinds of ways of making leaves. This is not the only one, and I don't claim that I've got, I know I'm the only one who knows how to make leaves. There are many ways of doing them. So a machine embellisher, and I'm only saying this because you have to make an awful lot of leaves. So if there is a way of cutting some corners because you don't want to be spending lots of time doing it, then there are ways of doing it. If, however, you love needle felting, you will definitely get your money's worth with this project, because you can make these leaves by hand painstakingly without an edging tool, getting them also neat. So there are definitely options for whatever you prefer, whether you like to make them all individually by hand, or whether you like using a little bit of help doing them. So when you have the leaf done, when it gets attached later on, we're sort of bending the end in, which is why you need that extra extension there, and then it gets sewn onto the garland so that it looks like that. So when you have it on the garland, let's bring that back. You can see that they are slightly pulled together at the bottom to make them look more like a leaf rather than just a flat shape. And of course you can already prepare for this. This is also what it tells you in the instructions. So you can already felt this part together like that, so that the shape of the leaf is already predetermined. And then you just make 17 more in whatever sizes and slightly different varied shapes you want them to be. But I want to say, if you have a multi-needle felting tool like the Clover one or the 7-needle felting tool, and if you have an edging tool, you will be flying. And if you use your greaseproof paper, you get a really good way of following the template, and also stopping the wool from getting the leaf getting stuck to your felting mat. Whatever felting mat you are using, obviously we're using our earth-friendly felting mat, but the eco wool mat works just as well. So I think we're having a quiet evening here. People have probably seen enough of me for the day. But of course, if you're watching this anytime anytime after as well, you can catch up on Facebook, or you can watch this on YouTube. The word I was looking for. But this is how you make leaves, and how you finish off your oranges and lemons. Well, almost finish them off because you need a little bit of brown. That will come next week. Will come next week before Christmas. We have one more day where we meet. Right. I think we're meeting next. But I will put the event on Facebook, and of course, if you're watching that anytime in the future, you don't care whether. But you will just see the sequel of the next part happening whenever. Rightio, I think that's all I've got to say. I don't know. Yeah, there's a few of you watching, so I do appreciate if you're watching this live. But otherwise, I will see you. Bye, everybody.